You think loving your dog is about what you give them? The expensive kibble, the orthopedic bed, the basket of squeaky toys in the corner? You think as long as their tail is wagging when you walk through the door, you are doing everything right? You are not. Right now, tonight, your dog is quietly longing for 5 specific things from you that have nothing to do with food, money, or training. Things so simple, so deeply rooted in their biology that most owners walk past them for 10 years without ever realizing they were there. And here is the uncomfortable truth. The longer you go without understanding these 5 longings, the more that invisible wall between you quietly grows. A dog who never receives them still loves you, but they spend their entire life loving someone who never fully understood how to love them back in their own language. By the time we reach number 5, you are going to see your dog's mind with a clarity you never thought possible. Correct relaxation. Think about the last time you reached down to pet your dog. Where did your hand go to? Top of the head, right? A quick pat down the skull, a scratch behind the ears, and you moved on with your day. It felt like affection. To you, it looked like love. But if you pay attention, really pay attention to your dog's eyes and posture in that exact second, you will notice something surprising. Most dogs duck their heads slightly when a human hand comes down from above. Their eyes widen for a split second. They tolerate it because it is you. But tolerating is not the same as connecting. There is a profound difference between a dog that sits still while you pet them and a dog that genuinely melts under your touch. Dogs possess specialized mechanoreceptors embedded deep within their skin, connected to specific nerve clusters that run along the parasympathetic nervous system. When these nerve clusters are stimulated with slow, steady, low-pressure strokes, something remarkable happens inside their body. Heart rate drops, baseline muscle tension releases, the adrenal glands slow their production of cortisol. Research published in the journal Physiology and Behavior mapped these high-sensitivity relaxation zones in domestic dogs. The findings were undeniable. Touch applied to the chest, just below the collarbone, the sides of the neck, and the precise junction at the base of the tail, where the spine meets the hips, triggered an immediate neurological shift into parasympathetic regulation. Conversely, hard pats on top of the head produced slight spikes in heart rate and microsignals of spatial pressure. In canine communication, a hand descending directly over the crown of the head mimics a spatial dominance display. Here is what to try tonight. Sit down beside your dog. Do not reach for the head. Place your hand gently on the side of their neck or the center of their chest. Apply slow, deliberate circular pressure, no faster than the speed of a calm heartbeat. Watch their faces. Within 30 seconds, the jaw loosens, the eyelids grow heavy, the body weight shifts entirely into yours. That is not just a nice moment. That is a biological bridge, a flood of oxytocin released simultaneously in their brain and yours, forging a connection no store-bought treat can ever replicate. And if that changes how you think about touch, wait until you see what happens when you step outside your front door. Imagine walking into an art gallery with a blindfold over your eyes, while someone drags you past every painting at full speed, refusing to let you stop and look. That is what a 20-minute brisk walk feels like to your dog. Most owners believe a walk is purely physical, a way to burn calories, stretch legs, and relieve a bladder before heading back inside. So when the dog stops at a tree trunk or a patch of clover, the owner tugs the leash. Come on, let's keep moving. We're on a walk. You are measuring the walk with your human eyes and your human schedule. Your dog experiences the world through an entirely different dimension. Your nose contains roughly 6 million olfactory receptors. Your dog's nose contains over 300 million. The dedicated olfactory bulb in a dog's brain is proportionally 40 times larger than yours. Where you see a plain wooden fence, your dog smells a detailed regional newspaper. They know which animals passed by 3 hours ago, their health status, their stress levels, their diet, and their reproductive state. When you drag your dog past those scent markers, you are not saving time, you are shutting down their primary window into the world. A landmark study conducted at the University of Bristol examined the behavioral impacts of olfactory exploration in domestic dogs. The researchers discovered that dogs allowed to engage in unrestricted sniffing during outdoor walks displayed significantly lower baseline stress behaviors at home, including reduced pacing, less destructive chewing, and lower reactivity to household noises. The key finding is, it was not the physical distance walked or the pace of the walk that calmed the dogs. It was the duration and freedom of their sniffing. Introduce a decompression walk into your weekly routine. Once or twice a week, Clip on a long leash, walk to a quiet area, and surrender control. Let your dog lead. If they want to spend 6 uninterrupted minutes sniffing a single tuft of grass, stand still and let them sniff. When you return home, you will notice a dog that is not merely tired, but profoundly fulfilled. An exhausted dog is physically drained. A fulfilled dog is mentally at peace, and that peace is only possible when you stop rushing through their sentences. Which brings us to the way you speak to them. What comes next is something almost every owner does wrong when they speak to their dog, and science proves your dog knows when you are faking it. Have you ever called your dog's name in a warm, friendly voice while feeling completely stressed or annoyed inside, and watched them freeze or walk the other way? You thought you were hiding your mood. You thought as long as you used the happy voice, your dog would respond. But your dog's brain was running a complex diagnostic on you that you did not even know existed. We often assume dogs process human speech either purely through tone or purely through learned words. The reality discovered by neuroscientists is far more extraordinary. Researchers at Eötvös Loránd University in Hungary conducted functional MRI brain scans on conscious dogs while listening to recordings of their owners' voices. The brain scans revealed a sophisticated dual processing system. Dogs process the emotional tone of speech in their right brain hemisphere while analyzing the actual vocabulary and meaning in their left brain hemisphere. Here is the critical discovery that changed canine cognitive science. The reward center of a dog's brain only activated when both hemispheres agreed. Praise words delivered in a flat, monotone voice yielded 0 neurological reward. Enthusiastic nonsense words also failed to stimulate the reward center, but genuine praise words delivered with authentic, warm pitch, where vocabulary and emotional frequency aligned perfectly, lit up the ventral striatum of the brain like a Christmas tree. When you say "good boy" in a rushed, monotone voice while scrolling on your phone, your dog's brain detects an acoustic mismatch. The words say yes, but the neural frequency says absent. The result is confusion and gradual emotional disengagement. The solution is not to talk more, it is to create an authentic vocal signature. Choose 2 or 3 specific phrases reserved exclusively for calm, positive connection. When you say them, look at your dog, drop your shoulders, breathe out and let your vocal pitch carry real presence. Over time, that vocal signature becomes a neurological anchor. The moment your dog hears it, their autonomic nervous system receives an unmistakable signal. I am seen, I am safe, my human is here. If you think you have already learned the most important thing today, stop right there, because number 4 deals with a primal biological need that most owners unknowingly erase every single day at dinner time. Every evening, across the world, millions of dog owners perform the exact same ritual. They scoop dry kibble into a plastic bowl, set it on the floor, and watch their dog inhale the food in 45 seconds flat. It looks convenient, it feels like career, but from a biological perspective, that bowl of food is a missed opportunity of enormous proportions. Dogs evolved alongside humans over 15,000 years as active working partners, tracking, herding, retrieving, scavenging, and solving complex environmental problems to survive. Their neurochemistry is hardwired to experience deep satisfaction through problem solving. In animal behavior science, there is a well-documented phenomenon known as contrafreeloading. Given the choice between eating food placed freely in front of them or working to extract the exact same food through a puzzle or task, almost every animal species, from birds to wolves to domestic dogs, actively chooses to work for their food. When a meal is delivered in an open bowl and consumed in seconds, the physiological need for calories is met, but the neurological drive for engagement remains completely starved. That unspent cognitive energy does not disappear. It turns into boundary frustration, night pacing, barking at window shadows, and compulsive licking. A study published in Applied Animal Cognition measured positive welfare indicators in domestic dogs fed through interactive puzzle feeders versus traditional static bowls. The dogs using puzzle feeders, snuffle mats, and scatter feeding techniques demonstrated significantly higher rates of relaxed body postures, lower post-meal restlessness, and elevated dopamine regulation. Even more importantly, when you are the architect of that challenge, when you roll kibble inside a towel hide, small portions around the living room, or scatter dinner across the backyard grass, your dog's brain links the emotional triumph of the hunt to your presence. You transform from a mere food dispenser into a partner in exploration. You fulfill an ancient biological requirement that no bowl on earth can ever satisfy. I remember every scent you brought home today. At 5:12 p.m., when your footsteps echoed in the hallway, I smelled the cold rain on your jacket before the door even unlocked. I smelled the metal keys in your pocket, the stale coffee on your breath, and that quiet, heavy scent you carry when the world outside has been too loud. I stood by the rug. I did not bark. I did not jump. I waited for your eyes to find mine. You walked past. You dropped your bag on the counter. You reached down and patted the top of my head twice fast, light absent, while your eyes stayed locked on the small glowing screen in your hand. My head ducked. You did not notice. I followed you into the kitchen. I sat beside your chair while you ate. I pressed the side of my rib cage against your calf just enough so you could feel my weight. You nudged me gently with your foot to make space. I do not hold it against you. I know you are tired. I know the human world is full of things I will never understand: papers, clocks, screens, doors that close for hours. But I want you to know that I have been sitting here all day, mapping the quiet rhythm of this house, waiting for the one moment when your hands stop moving, your screen goes dark, and you look at me, not as something you own, but as someone who has been waiting for you all along. Consider your physical relationship with your dog from an ethological perspective. You stand 5 to 6 feet tall. Every human in your household towers over your dog. When you walk through a room, you move above them. When you bend down to touch them, your shadow falls across them. When you speak, your voice descends from the ceiling. Your dog accepts this spatial hierarchy completely because they love you and trust your intentions. But in the language of canine ethology, standing over another creature and reaching down from above is an inherent expression of spatial pressure and control. Your dog lives their entire life in a world scaled for giants, and they almost never experience you as an equal. Here is an experiment to try tonight. Turn off the television. Put your phone in another room. Go into the living room, sit flat on the floor with your back against the sofa, and do absolutely nothing. Do not call your dog's name. Do not hold out a treat. Do not extend your hand. Simply lower your eye level to theirs and remain quiet. Watch what happens over the next 3 minutes. First, your dog will freeze in surprise. They will look at you with a sudden sharpness in their eyes because seeing their human on the floor with no agenda is an unexpected break in the pattern. Then, they will begin to move toward you, not bouncing or begging, but stepping slowly, deliberately, with a softness in their posture that you rarely see during the day. They might sit 2 feet away. They might rest their chin on your knee. They might simply lie down facing you, breathing slowly. That unprompted approach, entering your space without the bribe of food or the command of a voice, is the purest form of voluntary attachment a dog can express. Research in canine ethology confirms that regular, non-demanding, ground-level proximity strengthens secure attachment bonds, reduces baseline environmental anxiety, and builds emotional resilience in domestic dogs. You are removing the spatial pressure. You are stepping out of the role of manager and stepping into the role of true companion. Between what you think your dog needs and what your dog is quietly longing for, there is a bridge. It is not built with expensive gear or rigid commands. It is built in the quiet spaces between ordinary moments. In a hand that moves slowly across the chest instead of pounding on the head. In a walk where their nose dictates the pace. In a voice where pitch and emotion speak the same language. In a meal that engages their ancient mind. And in 5 minutes spent sitting together on the floor, asking for nothing at all. Your dog has been waiting for you to cross that bridge since the day they came home. Tonight, do not just feed them. Do not just walk them. Sit on the floor, lower your eyes to theirs, meet them halfway. If this video helped you see your dog in a new light, subscribe to Correct Relaxation. Share this with someone who loves their dog deeply, and join us next week as we continue decoding the silent language of your best friend. This is Correct Relaxation. We will see you next week.